Hello, my name is Joel Hathaway, and I'm the Executive Director of Schools for the Roaring Fork School District. In January, we hosted several community evenings about strategies to support drug and alcohol-free schools. We hosted these meetings in Basalt, in Carbondale, but the Glenwood High School one was snowed out. And because of that, and because we know that not everybody could attend, we wanted to record the session so that you have the information and have the ability to have your input and your voice heard. So in this presentation, we'll have a brief moment for parent education around drugs and alcohol in schools, particularly around opiates and fentanyl. We'll also have some opportunities for you to reflect and ask some questions. And at the end, there's a QR code where you can give your feedback. We had some norms in our meetings and give you a minute just to go through those as you sit and process this information on your own. So why are we talking about this? Across the valley and the state and the nation, there's increasing evidence of the presence of serious drugs in schools. So in order to keep our children safe, we want to increase prevention education for our staff, students, and families. In the event of a drug-related crisis, we want to be adequately prepared to respond effectively. I think it's important that I also say that I am the executive director of schools here in the district, but also I'm the parent of 2 high schoolers in the Roaring Fork School District as well. So take a minute just to consider on your own, what do you know about fentanyl and opioids, and what would you like to know? Here's a few facts. According to the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine. You don't have to be addicted to die from an overdose. As we're learning, it can be a one-time mistake. Fentanyl comes in several forms. It can be a powder. It can be a liquid. If you take a pill that's not prescribed to you, it could contain fentanyl and you wouldn't know it. Sometimes it's added to street drugs because its potency makes drugs cheaper and more powerful. Every other year, our students take the Healthy Kids Survey, and we haven't received data yet from the most recent survey, but we do know that in 2021, Roaring Fork students reported the following. Just over 10% of 8th graders and about 53% of 12th graders reported having used marijuana. Interestingly, the number for 8th graders is higher than that for students reporting having taken prescription pill medication without a prescription. That number was 14.7 for 8th graders and 17.7 for 12th graders. 7.2% of 8th graders and almost 17% of our seniors in 2021 said that it would be sort of easy or very easy to get drugs like cocaine, LSD, amphetamines, or other illegal drugs. 8.4% of seniors at the time reported having used cocaine. And the numbers are lower, but they're still there for drugs like meth and ecstasy. Very important and a huge challenge for all of us as parents is talking to our kids about drugs. Some advice from the Mayo Clinic is if you're starting a conversation about substance abuse, start early. Don't wait until it's a problem. Normalize conversations around hard topics in your family. Choose a place that you're both comfortable. Put away your cell phone. Try not to talk about these things when people are angry or frustrated. Put off these talks until a time that folks are calm. If you're not prepared to answer questions, then you should be honest and let your children know that you'll talk about it at a later time. And if you know that your teenager is intoxicated or high, definitely wait until the teen is sober and in a great space to have a conversation. To guide these conversations, a couple other bits of advice from the Mayo Clinic is ask for your teen's views. Don't just lecture. Always listen to your teen's opinions and questions to create a safe space. Discuss reasons not to use drugs. And we're not talking about scare tactics, but talk instead about the effects that drugs can have on performance, driving, health, appearance. Think about the messages that your family is getting from social media, TV, movies, and songs. Just talk about those things. Like, what are you hearing? Talking about ways to resist peer pressure is so important. And be ready to discuss your own drug use. Think about how you'll respond if your teen asks about it. If you chose not to use drugs, say why. If you did, share what that experience taught you. There are some red flags to recognize and to look out for. These things could be sudden or extreme changes in friend groups, eating, sleeping, appearance, requests for money, irresponsible behavior, poor judgment, lack of interest, breaking rules or withdrawing from the family, the presence of medicine containers, even when nobody's sick, or drug paraphernalia in your child's room. So what do you do if you suspect that your child's experimenting with or misusing drugs? How do you seek help? Well, plan your action. Find out your teen's using drugs or suspecting it can bring up strong emotions. So have a goal for a conversation. Think about the ways that you might respond as your child reacts. Talk. You can never step in too early. Casual drug use can turn into too much use or addiction, which can lead to health problems and accidents and legal trouble. Encourage honesty. Speak calmly, express that you're coming from a place of concern. Focus on the behavior and not the person. Check in all the time. You just can't check in enough. And get professional help if you think your teen is involved in drug use. Contact your healthcare provider or a counselor or a school counselor. Learn more about addiction. What other strategies do you think that you can use to keep your children safe? What are some other ways that you've started conversations about difficult topics at home? By now, if you have a teenager, you've had things come up. What makes you nervous about starting the conversation? Think about these things for just a moment before you go on. We also wanted to address the very serious life and death issue of overdose. So what are some signs of an overdose? Small pupils, falling asleep, losing consciousness, slow, weak, or no breathing, choking or gurgling sounds, a limp body, cold, clammy, discolored skin. What do? You call 911 first. You administer Narcan if it's available. And if you don't know where to get this, you can go to your schools and get some to have at home. Try to keep the person awake and breathing. Lay the person on their side and stay with that person until emergency help arrives. So you might be wondering why we're having this conversation and what is the district doing, the Roaring Fork School District doing to help. We believe that our superpower is relationships. We know that when we form relationships with students, we can have these tough conversations and we can learn things. We don't right now have an agreed upon prevention education curriculum, but it's something that we're working on and it's something where we need your feedback. We do have a matrix for disciplinary response where we address issues of students being intoxicated or possessing illegal drugs in school. We have substance abuses, mental health, and behavioral health services, family meetings through our Family Resource Center, wraparound supports through the Family Resource Center, and great partnerships throughout the Valley, school-based health centers, youth zones. But we're also exploring right now possible strategies, and this is where we need your input and your help. We're looking at prevention education, which is something that's in progress, but we know we can do more. Parent and family supports. canine drug sniffing units on campus, closed campuses for the high schools, increased SRO presence. Are there others? What are your clarifying questions? Again, the QR code at the bottom of this, at the end of this email, will give you a chance to respond to these ideas and ask you for others. Next steps, we want to summarize your feedback, consider additional strategies, and continue to communicate with the community. You'll see information through district and school newsletters about next steps. And it could be right now that you're looking for more information. If you are, contact your school's counselor, or you can contact Dustin Gehring. He's our Roaring Fork School District Safety and Security Coordinator, and his email is found right here. Thank you so much for taking the time to give this a listen and to responding and giving us some feedback on the QR code. Thank you.